Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the First Class, Second Place podcast. I'm your host, Jason Enrique, and we got another first-class guest up in the building today. But before we continue, I want to remind everybody that we are live in Bravery Studios in Garfield, New Jersey. Shout out to Marv, the producer behind the glass. What is going on, brother? Been a long time since we worked together, and I love it, man. Glad to see you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so here we go. Back with a vengeance, and we have another first-class guest, as I mentioned earlier. This was actually one of those moments where it just came in clutch. Sometimes you have to deal with a lot of cancellations and rescheduling and everything, and I also believe that things happen for a reason, because I happened to see this phenomenal artist on Sunday, and she just happened to have wide availability today. It was my lucky day, and we're very lucky to have her here. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Ali De Leon is in the building. What is going on?
Hi. Just happy to be here. This is my first time on a podcast.
Really?
Yes, I'm very excited.
Well, welcome to First Class, Second Place.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I appreciate
trust me,
it.
the honor here is all mine. So we'll get into all of that and everything. So first things first, where can you tell us where you were born and raised?
I was born and raised in Jersey City.
Okay.
I'm still there. Yeah, shout out to Jersey City.
JC in the building.
JC, you know, here. No.
That's usually a Brooklyn thing, but either way.
No, but we do it. We do it.
I'm just saying that's where it originated from.
Yeah,
but, you know, Brooklyn be always trying to take credit for everything.
They're coming to Jersey City now.
Hey. It's just between the Holland Tunnel and them.
I know.
That's it. Mm-hmm. All right, so growing up in Jersey City, and what was that like for you? Like when you were growing up, so you are El Salvadorian and Dominican, right?
Yes.
So obviously, I met you through a music show that you did recently, a couple of days ago at the Williams Center in Rutherford, New Jersey. So do you come from a musically inclined family? Like, do you come from a talented family, or do you consider yourself the outlier?
No, I do come from a talented family. They just didn't have the means to become artists. Like, they were in a time where you just got, you know, some food and some rum, and that was your pay kind of thing. But no one has actually pursued a career in music in my family. But my father, he is an extraordinary guitar player, and just like he like listens by ear, like he plays by ear, and I'm like, oh, I wish I had that. But,
I wish I had that skill.
I know,
too,
right?
You know?
And so he's like that. My mom always sang with her dad. I actually get a lot of inspiration from my grandfather in my mom's side, because he was an entrepreneur and he played the guitar, and he liked to play a lot of like Cuban music, like son, guaracha, and he always kind of just had that was his side hustle. He was also a barber, and like that was just his thing. And I'm like, if my grandfather was here and he could like play music, he would. And I just feel like coming that I have like my mom's side and my dad's side, both of them, like, you know, musically inclined, I'm like, I gotta do this. But I never thought I was gonna do this. Like, I never thought that I would take it seriously enough to like record or anything like that, because I don't really consider myself a singer per se, or even a rapper. I'm just a performer.
Yeah.
So I just decided I wanna do this. It helps me, and hopefully it helps other people along the way.
Before you got into the music, did you, as a little girl possibly, did you have any other dreams and aspirations that you wanted to pursue before this took a turn?
Well, music has always been in my life. Like I said, like in my house, there was always music on. I was always dancing with my cousins and singing with my sisters too. And like we would watch like concerts and like mimic that and like all this stuff, but that was just like a fun thing. Like I used to be in my room just like dancing and singing and, you know, being like Shakira and shit. Like things like that. But then I always was acting too. I've been in theater since like the 3rd grade. And then I did the choir as well, so I was like singing there. And I always knew I wanted to do theater. Like I always knew I wanted to act, so I kept on that lane. But then sports were also a big thing for me. So yeah, I played softball growing up. So softball, like I always did that. And then high school came, I was playing basketball, softball, and volleyball.
Wow,
so
quite the athlete.
so I was doing that. And also I was part of this magnet in my school for theater, so it was like cutting in between, like it was always like something in between. But then college came and I was like, okay, I want to like major in theater. I tried out for the softball team and I did make it. I thought I was really bad though at that point. Like I was like, I don't know about this, but I did like the fall with them, and then I was like, yeah, this is not gonna work.
But you gave it a shot.
I gave it a shot because the sports director in my high school, he called my college, my university, and told them about me, and they asked me to like try out for the team, and I was like, oh my God, I felt so like loved, you know. I felt like he always cared for me, and I knew that, like we were so close, but I just felt like, thank you God for like, you know, having other people care for me, you know.
You know, and you telling that story, I'm really glad to hear that, because unfortunately I had a lot of dreams and aspirations in entertainment that I wanted to do. I was younger, but you coming from a talented inclined family and them supporting your dreams and all that stuff, it's great. But admittedly, there's a part of me that's kind of jealous when I hear that from other people as well, because I'd never really felt that I got that support or anything like that. Like, it wasn't that they were against my dreams or aspirations or anything like that. It's just that they didn't feel that too confident, only just because of the stories that they hear from the outside world. And you know, because I've also surmised that due to the fact that I don't really come from a talented family at all. Like there's nobody that acts or sings or dance. I'm the outlier as far as that's concerned. So I guess I can understand why I never really got that push or support from that. But I had to basically learn at a much later age that I'm just going to go for it when, you know, a part of me wishes that I could have done it before, but it's never too late. And I'm glad that I'm pursuing it now. Yeah,
it's never too late. And don't get me wrong, there are moments, because like growing up, you know, I was always there, but that really, it was really the teachers around me. It was really, you know, it wasn't my parents. Like my parents just like, okay, you want to do that? Okay. But it was like, you know, teachers and musicians that like pushed me towards it. Like always, like growing up, I will always thank like my music teacher, Miss Mahoney at that time. I think she's married now, but she has a different last name, but she would always push me to do, you know, songs and musicals, and she's like, no, you got this, and do this role, and you're perfect for this. And I'm like, okay. Like I was pushed by those people, and that's why I think education is so important, and it plays a large role in our you know, our personalities and how we develop. Because my parents, they were I love them and everything. They're always there, but they were, when it came to decision making,
they were a little apprehensive.
Like it was. They're not really. They were really absent for that. And then now, fast forward, it's like they're surprised that I'm doing this, or that, I don't know. It's very complicated, and my mom doesn't understand, and my dad doesn't say anything. And for a long time, I created a story in my head, and it was like, oh, they probably think I'm a loser because I'm not famous and this and that. Because I did have multiple confrontations with my mom, and where she was, you know, said very mean things, and like, you know, you're not gonna make it, and like all this stuff. So it's like, you know, and those are moments of like their insecurities. They think that they're gonna get talked about, and that, you know, their family's gonna say something, and that's when it's toxic, and it's so crazy.
And it's also always an old school way of thinking. Like like specifically with my dad, who's unfortunately no longer with us. But one of his tactics, and I don't think it was a good tactic, but it was just an old school way of thinking. And I don't fault him too much, because he didn't have a father growing up, so he kind of had to learn things on his own. But where I'm getting at is, one of the tactics that he would do is kind of like, you know, it would be like insult to motivate. Like he would like put down you know, be super negative and everything. But he thought that if I go with that tactic, that's just going to inspire you to like prove me wrong or go harder or this and that and the third. I'm like, I mean, maybe it works for certain people, but it certainly didn't work for us. And I think because of their old school way of thinking of, you know, I'm the superior, I know better than you, they figured that, oh, don't worry, they'll get it eventually. But I think they had a lot to learn more about their kids than they realized.
Oh yes. I had that conversation with my mom too. I was like, unfortunately, Mom, you know, the time that you had to mold me and to create me into like your vision has passed. and I'm a grown-ass woman right now. I mean, granted, I still live with her. I still live with my mom and my dad. But I mean, I'm an artist. Like, I'd rather save that money and spend it on investing,
Sure,
you know, in myself. And, you know, I don't have any kids. I don't have a partner. And it's not that I don't want to grow up, but it's like, what's so wrong, like, with this right now? Like, I'm, you know. And so I had that conversation, and I told her, you know, your tactics are not working. I'm like, you put me down, and I know you love me. I know you care about me. I know you're trying to do good, but this doesn't work. It's not working.
Yeah. See, I try to have that conversation with both my parents as well, especially my mother. But one of the things that unfortunately didn't work, I felt like it was counterproductive, is that they would try to a little bit apologize for but they also try to justify it in the way.
Yeah.
And I just like, you're just not going to get it. So.
Yeah, sometimes we do have to be like, okay, okay, fine.
And I wonder if that's really more of a Hispanic thing more than anything, because I noticed that it happens a lot with the minorities, like Hispanic, blacks, Asians, everything. It doesn't necessarily happen to Caucasians as far as I'm concerned, but that's like a
no, their kids be yelling at their parents, and their parents be like, no, yeah,
fuck you and your gluten allergy.
I know. it's so crazy. Yeah, I think definitely, but I mean, it goes back to like being oppressed, right? If we're oppressed, someone is looking to oppress the other to feel good, because people do it all the time, even at work and things like that. And it's just, to me, it's so silly, and it's so like, get over yourself, you know? Like, why do you have to? It's
not that hard.
Yeah,
I mean, it's easier said than done.
But why do you have to treat people like shit? Like, dude.
Well, in my personal experience, I feel like you mentioned earlier, it's just projections. You know, like, I feel like when first of all, do you look more like your mom or your dad?
I mean, I'm a mix, but I'd say I look more like my mom, because I'm in the, I look like my mom, I do. Okay. But like, more the Dominican side, for sure. Yeah, I do. I look like my mom.
So the point that I'm getting at with that is that I'm a spitting image of my dad. You know, like, I look, if you put us side by side, you're like, oh yeah, that's your son.
Wow, that is tough.
Yeah, and I feel like it maybe subconsciously in his mind at the time, he was like, maybe he didn't realize it. I'm pretty sure he didn't realize it, but it's like when he's, you know, projecting onto me specifically, it's almost like him looking at a mirror to his younger self, and you know, I'm just the one that's actually taking the collateral damage.
Yeah, I feel that. I for sure. I think that in some cases that happens with my mom, like, and then, you know, you have to learn to give them grace, because like you said, they don't really know any better. But, you know, sometimes people, you gotta learn too, you know, and you gotta put your foot down, because honestly, I was going crazy. Like, I was just not happy. It was a point where I was like very depressed. I gained so much weight. I was drinking alcohol like crazy, like abusing it, and no one was telling me nothing. I mean, my mom would argue with me and stuff, but I'm like, you know, get over it, like, whatever. And then it came to a time where I was like, I'm not happy. What's going on? And her trying to help me, she was really putting me down, because like we said before, it was kind of like that, I'm gonna put you down to see if you, like, you know, get some motivation. And no, it did not work.
Well, you also mentioned that you have siblings as well. Like,
yes.
What was the dynamic there with that as well?
Oh, I love my siblings.
Are they talented as well? Like,
they are talented, but they're not pursuing the arts. I have a sister in corporate. I have my twin sister, she's also, she's in city in corporate. I don't even know if I should have said that, but anyhow, she's like,
well, you didn't give the government, so you're good.
No. And my brother's a nurse. I love my brother. My brother's like the best person ever. I don't care. I mean, I could say because he's like my brother, but no, for real. Anyone who has met my brother, they're like, we love him. And then I had an older brother who passed away. I was,
my condolences.
Thank you. I was just turning 12, and that really hit us really, really hard, because it was unexpected. And you know, it just taught me a lot of life. It taught me a lot of how to treat people, and how to, you know, really love people that you have around. Unfortunately, I haven't been that I don't know. I don't want to say blessed, because I have met like a lot of beautiful people, but I've met a lot of people who are hurt and just hurt back. So I try to hold on to people as much as I can, and then I let them go, because I always think like, damn, like I had a person so close to me leave, and you can feel that too with, you know, with your dad, where like even if you wanted to talk to them in person, you can't. And then you have a friend, let's say, and you know, you argue for something small, or you don't like this, and it's like you could talk. You have the blessing to talk it out, and if you really do care about this person, you would, you know, take that responsibility to do so. But we live in a world where everyone's just like, yeah, whatever, I don't need you anymore, bye bye, like move on, you know. So that's a little, you know. But
again, I think it just comes back to projections. And you know, we live in a weird, well, I don't want to say weird, but we live in a time now where you know, it's all about, you know, energy and all these other connotations in these words that I can't think of right now. But like everybody's, the point that I'm getting at is that everybody's out for their own, you know. There's, it's all about small circles now. And you know, one of the things that's frustrating to me as a creative, and I think you could understand this even though it's a different avenue, is even still to this day, but from day one, even still to this day, I've always been about collaboration. But now I'm starting to see more competition than anything, whether they know it subconsciously or not. And you're in a part of the creative process where it is extremely competitive. I mean, music is just, there is support and there is love and respect amongst your peers and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, deep down inside, if you really do the digging, everybody just wants to go for the top spot. Yeah,
I agree. And I think that's why we have Who's on Top, because they're willing to invest in that, and just like, I got the money, because right now, man, if I had the money, my visions would be way bigger, and I would be doing music way much more often. But it's expensive. It's expensive to pay, especially as a independent artist. You're paying your studio, you're paying your beats, you're paying your edits, you're paying your video, you're paying your promo, you're paying so many things. And I'm not a rich person. Like, I'm rich of life, but but you know, all this stuff, I'm like, you know, and even if they say, you know, use your resources, but sometimes you have people around you and you're like, oh my God, they could be doing this, doing that. And they don't, because like you said, they're out for themselves. They don't really, you know, care to give you a lift. Like some, you know, for a while, you know, when Instagram started being big or whatever, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take pictures. I'm gonna, like, you know, put some poetry here and like all this stuff. And what I got, instead of you know, support even from my own family, like all I got is like kind of like, oh, you think you that shit, and you want so much attention, and you want this, and and you want all that. And I'm like, I'm trying to do something here. And now it's so funny, because now social media, you don't have to be an artist to be posting pictures like you are one.
Right.
And it's a thing. Everyone's doing it. Everybody's, you know, posting like their life, their rich life, because that's what, you know, I think they have the right to, but it's just unfortunate when they're not seeing what you're seeing, and you kind of have to, like, you know.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, and luckily I feel like I got out of this space where I didn't need social media to show my validation or feel validated. And I'll give you an example to kind of contextualize it. So I know somebody, a former friend of mine, that is all about social media. They have like thousands of followers and everything, and they live on it, so on and so forth. But they would have a shitty day if they post something and they only get like 2 or 3 likes or something like that. When it comes to the case of me, you know, I'm not like viral or anything. I haven't gone viral or anything like that, and that's fine, because one of the things that I appreciate is the impact I've been able to make on other people's lives. You know, one story that I love telling, and I tell the story all the time, is I remember I was doing a live YouTube show with a friend of mine. Shout out to Tyson Roush, and we were talking about mental health, and it was the first time in any aspect, whether you know, in front of an audience or even just one person, where I went into detail of my my suicide attempt. And after I told that story, some guy in Vegas who I've never met before, I've never even set foot in Vegas before, he reached out to me on Twitter, and he loved everything that I said, and he wanted to thank me because he was going through the same problems as himself, and he had to deal with the loss of his dad as well. And he felt, even though like we're like 2,000 miles away apart from each other, he found somebody that felt exactly just like he did, and he felt like he wasn't alone. And that was really, really, you know, humbling to hear, and I appreciated that. So I would rather prefer making an impact on somebody's person's life, as opposed to just going viral for my own ego.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. And I think that's so important. I definitely put more weight on personal impact too. Social media is just like, a vehicle in a sense, but like I also do theater work too, and a lot of my theater work is like really to the core, like talking about domestic abuse, women empowerment, some history stuff, and like anything that has to do with women. I am like in there, and the subjects of suicide, all the stuff that it's not very much like glorified because nobody really wants to talk about it. I mean, people are coming out, and sharing their stories, which is, I think that's why, podcasts have been growing and stuff like that. And I do think that it is very important to share your stories and feel like, share your story, share your story so that and that you're not the only one going through it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's so important because in those dark times you feel like you are alone. Sometimes, you just feel like you're the only one,
Right. And, one of the things that was a little bit of an eye-opener for me is, for example, Robin Williams, one of my favorite actors of all time. What always makes me sad about that story is this was a guy who brought so much joy to everybody in the world. He had made millions of dollars, had a great career. He's a legend, and he brought so much joy and laughter to everybody. But the only person he couldn't bring joy to was himself, because he was battling with his own demons. So it goes to show that you could be the most popular person in the world. You can have all the money in the world, but none of that equates to happiness per se.
Yes, that is so true. Yeah, may he rest in peace. I mean, I try to keep myself on check because before, I'm always believed in mental health, always, but it wasn't something big in my family or in like the culture. You know what I mean?
It wasn't really big in our culture, like, because we come from a generation, I feel, where if we talked about that stuff, we were perceived that as like, weak or insecure, all these negative connotations that we actually work on ourselves now, but back then we couldn't show it. And I'm very prevalent in that sense where, I'm a man. Yeah. So like us especially, we had it hard, especially in the sense that, we had to put on this hard exterior because God forbid if I talk about how I'm not feeling well today, then I'm going to be perceived as a pussy or a wuss or something like that. Yeah. At least with a woman, it's a little bit more palatable, but still, like, it's, regardless of sex, it's still like a negative connotation that I'm glad that we're kind of getting out of it now.
Yes. I think it's so important that we are getting out of it because we go through shit and we make up shit in our heads all the time, like, and we don't really know it. That's why, I like the whole quote of like, someone else's opinion is not my business type of thing, right? Because we're in our heads and we're like, oh, they think this way, so I think they're gonna think this way, and so we make up our own stories even if we don't want to. And for a while, I feel like when I was going through a dark space, like that was what was the problem, that I was thinking, oh, they think this way, when it shouldn't be my business. It shouldn't be my business. I should go about my own business and focus on what my goal is and my idea and my goal. I said goal already. Oh my God. Anyways, I'm like, woo. So just my vision. So that's what I'm getting back to, like, just kind of holding the vision, because I know that I have good intentions and that it's for humanity. It's not for, I'm not a I just say like una persona vanidosa, like full of vanity. Like, right. I really don't care much for like, oh, I have this and I have that. Like, honestly, if I'm very happy where I am. I want to have more, but I'm not like, oh, I need to have this because I need to feel like, I'm the best thing out there. Like, I could care less, man. I sit on the floor. I'll walk barefooted. I don't like, I don't care for that. But unfortunately, the industry that we're in, then, you have to look, right. You have to look like of value. You have to. So like, there's a balance. I want to have it all in a balance, because I'm like, I run the show here, like, I'm like, it's me. Like, You can't tell me what it is. And for a long time, everything, I just felt like everyone was just trying to tell me who I am, what I do, what what should I be? And it's like, now I'm like, no, I'm done. Like, you're out here faking your whole thing, and then you want to tell me how to be when I'm just being my most authentic self? Like, no.
And you just said something right now where I'm kind of at a point in my life right now, and you just said is I'm done. And what I mean by that is I'm now in a place right now where there's a lot of people that I've associated with, that I've worked with, family, friends, colleagues, whatever the case may be. And I'm at a point right now where like I'm completely done, where things are not ideal. There's a lot of things behind the scenes that are like kind of like creepy and shaky and all that kind of stuff. But at this point right now, I'm like, I'm just done with it. Like, I'm not going to entertain it. I'm not going to think about it. It's sometimes it's such a relief to just get rid of some of that dead weight that you were carrying around with you in the form of human beings. Sometimes,
yes, it's not sometimes, it's always, because like I said, you try your best to hold on to these relationships and to show people you care, but they're not caring the same way. They're not thinking the same way, and so it's not worth it. Like, that's why I say I'm done. It's not worth it, because the thought process that you have is not the same, and you're over here stressing and all this stuff, and they're like, okay, oh yeah, you did that, cool, and then you see like it all go down the garbage, and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I kind of got out of that as well, because I actually talked about this on a previous episode, where I've been reading this book by Marcus Aurelius. It's called Meditations.
Okay.
Basically, this is a guy that back in the Roman Empire days, he was the ruler of the whole world. Yeah,
right?
exactly. And he would just write down his thoughts on paper, and it was very cathartic and everything that when you read it now. And one of the things that I loved reading in that book was, whatever you're pursuing in life, don't try to chase the end results. Just enjoy the journey of what it is. Because if you are a person that's going to proceed in doing music, acting, podcasting, cooking, whatever the case may be, whatever you're passionate about, and what your main focus is on what people are going to perceive it as, or the end result of how it's going to come out, your train is completely off the tracks. Because listen, do I have everything figured out as a podcaster? No, I've been doing it for 3, almost 4 years, but I'm still learning this as I go. I'm still a student of the game. I still go into every episode like if this is the first episode I've ever done, and I'm still trying to figure it out. And what I also think what's interesting about artists in general is that we are huge compartmentalizers, and we use that compartmentalization and then apply it to our art. And in your case, you apply it to your music, and that is your outlet, and you also at the same time your gift to the world.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely what I do with my music, because so for acting, I was getting a lot of roles that were very depressing, very my first professional acting gig was a girl who wanted to commit suicide because her cousins were forcing her to kill a girl to join their gang. Like, that was my first acting role, and like getting into this character, I'm a method actress, and it was like, it was a lot. And then after that, it was like, a mother who lost her kid. It was kind of like La Llorona. And then after that, it was like, this girl who was racist, and like, so many things that were like not. It was like taking a toll on me. Plus, I had my own stuff going on in my personal life, so I was doing art, but I wasn't expressing my feelings in a way. So I needed to look for another outlet. And then that's when I decided, I think it decided for me. I started like just melodies and harmonies would come to me, and I started writing a lot of poetry and like all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, like I have to do something with this and about this. And then that's how it kind of came about. And I'm like, okay, this is my outlet. This is my, like, I could be as real as I want. I can scream and be silent in the same song. I could be happy and sad at the same song, or angry, whatever. Like, everything could exist in music because there's no rules. There's a structure, of course, but even that, I'm like, fuck that. I'm like, it's whatever feels good.
Right. Yeah. When it comes to your music, is there any piece of writing or song or lyrics, whatever hooks, whatever the case may be, that is your most personal still to this date?
I mean, they're all so personal because they all tell a story about a point in life that I was in, and it's so dear to me. Like I have, you know, songs that are vulnerable, very, very vulnerable, and other songs where I'm like, oh, this is my alter ego talking, and I could be, you know, I could be like that. But like, just if I had to like just kind of like put it all together and kind of, you know, say this is the message I want, and it's just do your healing process and accept it and heal and feel it. You have to feel it. In order to heal, you have to feel it and come to a realization that it is what it is, and accept it and do the steps to move on, because it's hard. You know, it's hard to deal with your emotions. It's hard to deal with, you know, especially if you are an overthinker. And
right here.
Yeah, like yeah, exactly. Especially if you're an overthinker, and if you're like a philosopher too. You know, like
I don't know about all that.
Yeah, I mean, I in a way, I feel like overthinkers. There's somewhat of philosophy going in there, because, you know, there's all those what ifs. That's also like my training as an actress. The what ifs, like and so things happen, and I'm in my head already. Like, so this and this and that. Did they do that because of that? And da, 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 and like, how about, and if this and then that, and then it just it's draining. It's draining, and it's also it is a tool, but it's also draining. So you have to kind of balance it out, you know.
Well, that's the risks that method actors use. I mean, there have plenty of stories out there where method actors will take things to the extreme for the sake of the performance. But you know what? I feel like that's just another outlet of them trying to get out whatever demons may be in them as well. Yeah. And, you know, even just for the fun of it, you know, from the positive side of it, what I enjoy being an actor, because I don't know if I told you this, but I'm an actor as well. But one of the things that I enjoy about is, you know, being able to get into the psyche of a different person that is completely not you.
Exactly.
You know, I like, first and foremost, I joke around with my friends all the time that the majority of the roles that I tend to get is either a cop or a crook. Okay. So I am neither. But it's fun to get into those psyches, right? Sometimes. Like sometimes I wonder what it's going to be like to be an asshole that's upholding the law or breaking it, for that matter. And it's a world that I know nothing about, but the experience and the studying of it is very intriguing to me.
Yes, that's so cool. Yes, I mean that's the fun part, right? Because you can be anyone you want, right? Anything you get casted as. So it is fun. I enjoy that too. I really do, because I know that I am not gonna do certain things in my real life, like, you know, towards somebody, let's say, but if it's acting, I got a free card there, you know. You gotta live it up. And so that's the one thing that I also take with me on the stage, where I'm still learning and I want to be more, but it's that aspect of having fun and of being whoever you want to be. And the thing with music, it's more personal, because, you know, it's about my story and my experience, but it doesn't take away the energy I could bring into, or characters that I could bring into it as well. Because, man, why play small? Like, go big, go hard. Like, and I have this energy already. I'd be like, I
feel it already just talking to you. So
I'm like, I can't, for so long I was just like making myself small, just make myself small, because, you know, I was too loud, I was too this, I was too blah blah blah. And I'm like, you know what? Where's the only place I can be whoever I want to be and be okay? And that's the stage. Like, nobody says you're being too loud, like, shut the fuck up. Like, everybody comes to see you, give a show, like, cool, like, you know. So I think that's why I love it so much and why I enjoy it.
And, you know, I think that your explanation of that, I have a better understanding as to why I thought that your performance was stellar when I went to go see you perform, because not only do I think that you have a great voice and so on and so forth, but one of the things that I think that you have to have as a performer, whether you're a comedian, a singer, actor, whatever the case may be, is a stage presence. You have to have a presence, and it has to be very graceful, for better or worse. And in your case, when I was watching you on stage, not only were you doing something that you loved, but I felt personally, just from on the outside looking in, I felt that you were probably in a state of mind where, like, even though you were performing with other people behind you and in front of a crowd, you were just all by yourself because you were in your mood, you were in your mode, you were singing, you were dancing, you were moving and contorting your bodies in ways that you felt like was very cathartic for whatever trials and tribulations were going on within your mental and in your physical. And I think that it radiated throughout the entire performance, and that's what I got from it. So that just goes to show how beautiful art can be if you use it correctly.
Yeah, thank you so much. That means so much to me.
You're welcome.
It means so much. Yeah, I try. I mean, I haven't been able to get on a lot of stages. I've been on a lot, but I mean more, and like, you know, larger crowds. But I always think it is important to like have fun and be in that, and that's what I want to admit. Like, that's what I want people to feel too, because at the end of the day, we are all going through this, you know, through life. And we have our moments where we are disconnected, but in the end, we are all connected, and we are all going through similar, you know, experiences and feeling, because that's what we feel. And I feel like if I can give that to someone, that, okay, we're here, like, you're a different person, I'm a different person, but we're here. I think that's like what's so important, you know. And going back to what you said about Marcus, what's his last name? Marcus
Aurelius.
Yeah, Aurelius. Aurelius.
It's okay. So serious.
I suck at names, and like multitasking is just not my thing.
Don't worry, I had to make sure that I got your name before we got on here. So,
but it's like it's that if you're thinking about the end, you're not in the process, and you're already like, you know, off your path. And that has happened to me, writing certain songs and saying certain things, and I'm like, oh, but I don't want people to think, or what is my mom gonna think? What is my dad gonna think? What is my brother gonna think? What is my sister gonna think? What is this person gonna think? And it's always it's something that you do because you're human. But I've realized that it has nothing to do with anybody else. Yeah. It has to do with myself, with my journey, and that's it. Like, I can hold respect for other people. Coño. Sorry, keep it in the mic.
It's okay. That happens all the time on the show. Don't worry.
I have, mutual respect for people, but it doesn't matter. Like, if you're no longer like by my side, and you're no longer like in my life currently, that's it. Like that's it. From now on, this is my life. And if the story pops up or whatever, you think I'm talking about you or whatever the case may be, it is not about you. Right. Because you're not the same person that you were when maybe we were hanging out or when we were together, whatever it is. That's my thing now. I'm like, I owe nothing to no one, because this is my experience, and no one could take that experience from me.
Yeah, and you can't worry about if other people are feeling a way if they feel like it's about them. You know, like that's not what you're doing in the first place. You're focusing on yourself as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, and I understand where you come from, because Lord knows I'm a person that, you know, I could be, you know, I could pop off of the mouth and people will feel away because they think it's about them when it's not. But, you know, it is what it is. And I can't do anything about it, you know, so I just have to keep on pushing forward and keep on doing what I'm doing, and not worry about what anybody else has to say or think.
Yeah, it's about, it's personal, because it's about healing. Like we said, it's about healing. So if you heal and you show that to people, they would, like, just like the story you told us about the guy from Las Vegas. Yeah. In a way, you healed him, you know? And you could only have done that because you took it. You took it on for yourself to do that. And so that's how we, you know, teach people. And that's the only way we can be of an example, is to actually be, you know, walk the walk. Just not, you know, talk the talk, you know?
Do you go to therapy, or is music your therapy?
Music is my therapy. Sometimes I act like my own therapist. You know, I'd be like, if I was a therapist, because, you know, I give some good advices. And so I'm like, why can't I do that to myself, you know, for myself? I'm not opposed.
I think you should give yourself more credit than you do.
Thank you. I mean, I'm not opposed to going to therapy, but I'm like, I can afford that. Okay. I'm not going to do this. Or I really do. I take pride in being able to hold my own space and hold my own thoughts and you know, do critical thinking, all that. So I try to always just be with myself and like meditate a lot and like, you know, just ask myself questions. And even if I don't have the answers, and I'm like, I'm looking for this answer. What is it? And I just keep like, you know, just thinking about it, and it'll come somehow, you know.
Right. And and if in some ways this is kind of like a therapy session, because
Yeah.
one of the things I like, you were talking about earlier before, when it comes to your music, there's things that cost money, but at the end of the day, this is a business. But you also kind of have to have that mindset where you're looking at it as an investment. So take this podcast. Like, I get people all the time, namely my family, that they're wondering like, oh, why do you spend all this money on all this thing that you're doing with the show and so on and so forth, and you're not really seeing a return investment? And I'm like, no, I am. I'm seeing a return in my investment, just not in my bank account.
Yeah,
but I'm definitely getting
exactly.
in a way. I mean, I'm just like you, where I necessarily can't afford therapy.
Yeah.
Maybe I could afford it if I didn't do the show,
Yeah.
but I also feel like I wouldn't be myself if I didn't do the show.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I take this as my form of therapy, and this is basically an investment as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
This investment for my well-being, and also killing two birds with one stone with being able to have people of your caliber on the show and share their story.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I agree with you. I'm with you. And it is. It totally is. It totally is. No matter what anyone says, it totally is. And I feel the same way when I do my art. I told my family a long time ago, I'm like, I'm going to die with my art. Like, I don't know what you guys want to do, but this is something I'm going to do. So it's kind of hard sometimes when they have an idea of what success looks like. And I'm like, I'm doing stuff. Just because you guys don't see it doesn't mean I'm not doing stuff. You guys don't ask me what I'm doing or where I'm going to perform or where I'm going to do this. So, just let it be. I'm doing my shit.
Right. And, like I said, it's going back to that mentality where I'll give you another example to contextualize it. So tomorrow, at the time you people will see this recording, this episode, it already passed. But tomorrow, I have a movie premiere that I have to go to in a film that I'm in. And thank you. So I'm only in the film for like 2 minutes. No big deal.
It doesn't matter. It's something.
I know. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is that I didn't do the film to wait for this big momentous grand premiere to happen for that people could see myself on the screen. I did it because I was, surrounded by people that have the same goal as me. And when I see myself on screen, which I don't really like to do as much, but when I see myself on screen, that just captures a moment in time when I was having fun. Like, I don't care necessarily about the premiere or seeing myself on screen. It just takes me back to that day when we were filming and how much fun I had. That's how I go about it, as opposed to other people that I think that they're just looking for the end result and their ego stroke.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's so dope, and I want to get into film.
I think you should. I mean, you have the look, you have the talent, you have the grace. I mean, I already saw your stage presence, so maybe it's time to bring out the screen presence.
I know. I want to get into that. I mean, I took some headshots, but I was a little. I'm losing some weight right now, so now I'm like, oh fuck these headshots. But the good thing, but the good thing is that, I mean, I don't change much, so I'm gonna see how that goes. If it's too much of a drastic change, then I would have to get them done again. But I do want to go into film. But I want to go into film telling our stories, and telling about our culture and just real stuff. Because I think, there's a lot of Latino work coming out there and happening, but I feel like we could just be way much more bigger. We are much more bigger. We are definitely, and I want to be part of that.
I want to be a part of it as well. And again, this is what I was saying earlier about collaboration, not competition. I've actually, there's a little bit of breaking news. I think I shared it on a previous episode before, but I actually started writing my very first short film.
Ooh,
and
if you need a song,
so, but you know what? Now you're in the express lane because you're getting to where I'm getting at. So that's maybe there may not be something immediately, but there'll be something in the works going forward. This is this is what I mean about collaboration. And one of the things that I just kind of popped into my head right now, and this is why I love doing things like this, is this is the second time I'm meeting you in person. And I'm probably, and this conversation that we just had has probably been a deeper conversation that I've had with anybody in months, maybe years. And that's just one of the things that's just great about platforms like this and mediums like this, and just connecting with creatives, because you only know each other for a certain amount of time, but you find out that there's actually a lot more in common than you realize. And sometimes you have to go to the outside sources to understand where you're coming from or where you want to go, if that makes sense at all.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And that's why I love art. I mean, that's why I love theater. I love music, all that, because through that you find out. Like, every time I do something, like I said, in theater, women empowerment is my shit. Like, I can't express it any, much more than I do. But the thing is, it's because of that we find more in common than we have that is not, you know.
Right.
And it's important just being human beings. Like we're like we're the same race. Come on, like, you know, your green may look a little, you know, darker than mine, but it's still green. Like we're, you
Yeah.
know, it's like it's that thing. And that's why, like I said, I just love the arts, because through that we really find out that we are the same.
Right.
We are the same.
Now, I'm not a political person and I don't want to get political, but one thing I want to basically touch on just a tiny bit if we could, because you just said that you're about a women empowerment, and I feel like you being about women empowerment and other women like you, I feel like especially in this day and age that where we are right now in this country and in the world, I think we need more of that than ever. So please continue to use your art and your creative and all that stuff to continue that message, because I think that people like you and everybody else need it now more than ever.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think, yeah, I think as a collective we're coming together and we're realizing that we do need it more than not, and that also that the connotation of being, you know, a woman empowerment person, or whatever the term is, or like a
Feminism,
feminist,
yeah.
feminism, where it's like, oh, you hate men and you don't want, and you're independent and you don't want, you know, someone to take care of you and you want to do it all yourself. It's not about that. Like, it's not about that. And I feel like when white men learn that, you know, especially white men, I want to say that learn that if a woman is in power, that doesn't mean that, you know, that they're gonna X them out, or that, you know, they're gonna get extinct or something, because that's how they act. Like, you know, like if it's gonna, or the world's gonna end, and it's not like that. It's not like that.
Well, all I'll say is this, and then afterwards we'll put a cap on it. All I will say is that if this election showed me anything, this last presidential election, is that we have a lot more work to do than we realize.
Have so much more
That's
work
the only thing that I'll say going forward, because I know a lot of people out there like to fucking hate. So anyway, but anyway, we're almost kind of pressed for time here, but I want to get into a little bit about your art a little bit more. So is there any other projects or performances or anything that you have in the works that the audience could be privy to going forward?
Well, I mean, I'm always working on stuff. I just haven't recorded in a while, like a new song. But I want to say that bachata's calling my name. Maybe merengue. I don't know. Like, you know, Dominican music is calling my name. I'm just like, it's there, but I'm still self-conscious about it, about that aspect in a sense, because that is like, especially for like bachata, because bachata is like, you know, cortavena, like they say, it's like very raw and like, and very vulnerable. And it's about, you know, I feel like it's because you're talking about this heartbreak, right? And I've been through a heartbreak, and I just don't want it to be like I'm still feeling this way, you know, and I don't want to be in that zone and that feel. So it's just kind of when I'm ready mentally to be like, okay, I know that I'm gonna be okay with this, and I'm not gonna fall back into a cycle. You know what I mean? Because you're living it so vividly, and you're saying these words, and you're in it. And that's a thing about being an actor, right? Or, you know, a performer, where you're so in it, you have to know how to keep your safe space, because you don't want to be constantly living in the same, you know,
bubble.
Yeah, in the same bubble. And that's what happens with music. I start like experiencing something, and then I'm writing about this, and I got it, and then, you know, time passes, and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore, or I don't want to hear that song anymore. And then I come back to terms with why I did it and who needs to hear it, and all that stuff, and then I can go through it. So I feel like that's that. But I have some rap songs too that I recorded. I just have to do the work to put it out. But I mean, yes, more music will be coming.
Well, you're putting it out to an existence, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes. It's coming out. It's just kind of figuring out how I want to do it, how I want to present it. But just getting it out, period, because I've been sitting on songs that I wrote like 2-3 years ago. So
well,
you know,
let me extend this olive branch if I could.
Okay.
If there's any help that you need in as far as getting the creative juices flowing or anything like that, I feel a great vibe from this. I feel like if there's any way that I could help out, or I could introduce you to other people as far as like that's the creative outlet is concerned, let's work together. Let's collaborate, and then afterwards we'll see where it goes from there. Because I think that you have what it takes. It just need that little bit of a push.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm growing and learning. Like, yeah, That's it. You know, I am 33 years old. You know, I'm Jesus Christ age. So
See, that's how you know that you're Hispanic, because you don't even look your age. We age gracefully.
oh, thank you. Yeah, I know, right? That's a good gene. I feel like part of my life I looked older than what I was, and then I grew into that. Now I'm, you know, I'm okay, and I feel like that's how it's gonna be. Like I'm gonna look a little older for some time, and then I'm gonna look younger.
Yeah, I'm actually a little in a weird space right now, where because for a long time I would tell people my age, and they'll be like, "Oh my God, you look so much younger than that. I would have never guessed it." Now I'm at a point right now where I tell people I'm about to be 39, and they're like, "Yeah, that makes sense." So now I'm a little worried.
I mean, because you're growing. That's what I'm saying. You're growing into yourself, you know.
Yeah.
But also,
I found my first gray hair on my beard the other day. So
did you go crazy?
no, but I'm like, I realize I'm not Superman anymore. So
I have so many gray hairs in my hair. Oh my God, it's crazy. But you can't see it now. But I just deal with it. I'm not scared of aging. I'm like, okay. I feel like. Sorry, but as women, I guess I feel like we get better with age.
Y'all
you
do.
know, exactly, and you just got to take care of yourself. But it's just like, but there's also that, you know, that demeanor, that how you carry yourself. You kind of, as a woman, unfortunately, you learn that later in life. And you know, I was always a girl who thought that, you know, had it, not that I had it all figured out, but that I was very, very confident. And I was very okay, but I wasn't conceited, but I was very confident. But I got that, you know, a lot of people
there is
got
a difference.
that.
Yeah.
There is a difference, and a lot of people confuse that, and then kind of threw me off, and I, you know, it just
Can't worry about that. Can't worry about that too much.
And then so now I'm just like, okay, I'm back to being me. Thank you very much. I learned my lesson.
Believe me, we're not going to get into the whole spiel, but like, let's just say I know exactly where you're coming from. I just can't let it face me. All right, but Ali, I mean, we're pressed for time right now. This is a lot of fun. I can't believe how much time has gone by. I think we covered a lot. I wish we could continue doing this more, but maybe in the future there could be other possibilities of episodes or anything if you're interested.
Yes,
but
of course.
first and foremost, I really thank you for coming through here, especially such a short notice, and you know, just the fact that I just met you a couple of days ago, but you know what? It was enough to say she deserves to be on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much.
You're very welcome.
So
Now, before we get out of here, I just have one final segment. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the show too much, but for the rest of the audience, it's now time for everybody's favorite segment. It is now This or That. If you've never seen the show before, what happens is I will ask my guest here multiple choice questions. It's based off of Black Sheeps. You can get with this, you can get with that. There's no right or wrong answers. There's some basic ones and some ones that are tailored around you. And just have fun with it. Don't try to overthink it. And just, you know, like I said, it's no right or wrong answer. It's just another opportunity for the audience to get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
All right. So are you ready, Marv? Are you ready, Ali?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
Take a swig of water. You're good.
Yeah. Let me take a swig. Okay.
All right. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go for This or That. You missed that, Leon. Playlist or podcast?
A playlist, because I'm just a music person.
That's fine. Like I said, no right or wrong answer. Slides or Crocs?
Say that again?
Slides or Crocs?
I guess slides, because I never wore Crocs before. That's weird, but yeah.
No, that's not. Beach or pool?
Beach, 100%.
Dogs or cats?
Oh my God, that's hard. That's so hard. Can I say neither?
Yeah, if whatever. You could say neither, both, or whatever.
Okay, both.
All right, both. All right.
Okay.
Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Night owl.
Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram, but I should be a TikToker.
I've seen some of your dance videos. I think they should go on TikTok.
Thank you.
To give or to receive?
Oh, to give.
All right. Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
I'm a little bit of both.
Okay. Batman or Superman?
God. Batman.
I'm Batman.
Yeah, Batman. I don't know.
All right. Iron Man or Captain America?
Oh my God. I don't know. Iron Man.
Okay. Are you glass half empty or glass half full?
Glass. Half full?
Mm-hmm.
Half full.
Okay. Would you rather be embarrassed or be afraid?
Oh, wow. That's hard. Be embarrassed or be afraid? I guess being afraid, because you're doing something with like if you're like afraid,
Okay.
you know.
Would you rather be too hot or be too cold?
I'd rather be too cold. No,
Yeah, I could just cover up.
Like yeah, hot no.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm Gucci. Would you rather do dishes or laundry?
And that's I could do both. I like doing both, but I mean, I think dishes because I could sing and like just, and I always did that as a little girl. Just got up on a chair and just started like washing dishes. Yeah, I think I do dishes.
I'm a laundry guy because I could binge watch my favorite shows and movies while I'm folding at the same time.
That's true. That's true.
Do you prefer the window seat or the aisle seat?
The window seat.
Okay. Are you book smart or street smart?
I'm both.
Do you prefer reading or writing?
Oh, that's hard too. I guess writing.
Would you rather speak every language or play every instrument?
That is so hard. But I'm going to go with instruments because that's a language of its own.
Hey, I love that. Cardio or weights?
Oof. Okay. Ugh, that's tough too. I mean, I love dancing, so that's cardio. But yeah, I'll go with cardio because dancing.
All right, well, you kind of answered this already, but I'm still going to ask it. Dancing or karaoke?
Yeah, oh my God, but that's hard too. Oh my, no. See, dancing or karaoke, see, I probably, I do both of them by myself in my room all the time. But if I had to choose,
yeah,
probably dancing because, yeah.
I'm doing karaoke all day. I suck as a dancer.
I don't know. It's just moving. It's important for your muscles to move.
Little side note, I'm not a bachata fan, but I know how to dance it very well.
Oh.
Yeah. Drama or comedy?
Comedy. But I do a lot of drama. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
But comedy is medicine for the heart, you know.
Yeah, life is a comedy.
Yes.
And it's also dramatic. Do you prefer ice water or room temperature?
Room temperature.
And then finally, teamwork or solo project?
Teamwork.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this and that. That is going to do it for this episode of First Class, Second Place. Thank you to my lovely guest, Ali De Leon, for coming through here. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to before we close out?
Anyone who's watching. I mean, my peoples know you, my peoples. But I just want to say, anybody who's watching, anybody who is going out for a dream and is just doing it and feel like they're crazy, just do it. Just do it, and then later you can make it good or better or whatever you want. But just get it out there.
Do it. All right. And where can they find you on social media?
Social media, Ali De Leon Music, ALIDELEON Music, MUCI. Let's see, SIC. Yeah, I can't spell now. No, I'm going. You know, Ali De Leon Music. I'm going crazy right now. You can find me on Spotify, on iTunes, on YouTube. Go up there. Yeah, find me in all the digital platforms.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, she is graceful, she is talented, she is beautiful,
and
she
can't spell now. I can.
And she is Ali De Leon. Thank you so much for coming through here. Appreciate this so much. And ladies and gentlemen, you can find me at I am Jason Enrique on all social media platforms. Don't forget to like, subscribe on YouTube at Jason Enrique. And before we go, I just want to give a shout out to Thriving Stationery for sponsoring this episode. You can go purchase this personalized journal. Make today count for First Class, Second Place. You could email at me at firstclass2ndplace@gmail.com. They're available, $25 for each. Nice gift. Definitely get it to yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And thank you so much for Thriving Stationery for sponsoring this episode and this podcast. You can find me at I'm Jason Enrique on all social media platforms. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We will see you this next week. This has been the First Class, Second Place podcast. The soundtrack to my Saturday night. Pulling on out of yeah, I just might. Police fuck out of my side. So wrong, but I'm feeling so right. Oh well, go to church on Sunday. Hey, sounds like work on a Monday. No turning back, life is a one way. Ain't got room for hate in the trust space. No one missed the nice guy. Starting on me, homie, that's a nice try. Two such a free real talk my line. Had to write hello, now she tell you bye-bye. Make a toast to the good life. History is something that a nigga should write. So get up off your